When was the last time you thought about how you see yourself, not how others see you, not how you want others to see you, but how you actually see yourself right now? Now, let this land for a minute. Don't answer it yet, because I want to let you know that this episode is going to feel very different because it is. The title of this episode is Visibility Unlocked. And that is because this podcast is shifting. We are literally going into season 3 in the next episode, and something felt really off about what this podcast episodes have been up until this point. Up until now, Shifted was about transformation, perspective shifts, making one small change at a time to move more towards an aligned life. And that was real. And it certainly served a purpose, but it was also very broad. They were more of those standalone episodes, not really having any one main destination other than making a shift inside of you. It was more of me week by week, kind of just sharing what was on my mind or what was happening in my life or with my clients or inside of my business. And at the end of the day, that just felt really scattered. Probably not just to you, but for me too. So I was starting to see this scatteredness happen across the board in my business. It was happening in conversations at networking meetings. It was happening in my messaging. It was happening in my one-on-ones with my clients. And I thought to myself, okay, I need to ground my business. And so that's when I got on a call with my business coach. And I told her, I said, it is time for me to give my messaging, not just for my podcast, but my messaging as a whole, more direction and to help it become more grounded in my purpose and what I am here to do, how I am here to serve my clients. And what came out of that conversation was the fact that I wanted to have my content building off of the last piece of content and a very clear direction that actually takes people to the same destination with similar paths to get there, because no one woman's journey is the same, but we are all trying to get to that same destination. And I was so caught up in that actual journey process that I wasn't honed in and focused on the real destination. I wasn't communicating that, and I wasn't building off of that. And so as we started to work through things and bounce ideas off of each other and have her act as a sounding board for me, I got this intuitive hit for a podcast name. And that was actually Find Your Rhythm. And I got really excited, like really, really excited when this hit came in and I shared it with my coach. And she got excited with it. She was like, yes, absolutely. But what I realized is that she was mirroring, was amplifying my excitement. And that excitement was my first cue that I was in an emotional wave and that I wasn't experiencing clarity, which honestly, at the time, I thought that I was. It wasn't until I got off the call that I had this realization that, hey, I need to give myself time. So that's exactly what I did. I allowed myself to move through the wave and gain that clarity. And, in the beginning, it really honestly felt like procrastination. Like I was just putting off getting the new rebrand of the podcast episode out there, of recording this last episode of season 2. I can't tell you how many times I sat down to create this episode and there was just nothing there. And I thought, well, I just need to give myself more time. And the reality is that This is the work. What looked like procrastination on the outside, even to me, was actually work happening on the inside because I wasn't doing nothing. I was literally waiting for clarity to come through instead of just acting on all of the impulses that I had. And friends, that's not avoidance. That's discernment. And because of that discernment, clarity emerged. And that's when visibility unlocked emerged, not from excitement, but from that clarity. And there's this big difference between excitement and clarity. And this can be one of the most confusing things for emotional authorities in human design. Now, keep in mind, a little more than half of the population is an emotional authority, me included. If you're not an emotional authority, you don't necessarily need to have time. Clarity comes for you almost instantly. At least that's available to you, whether you experience it or not. But for an emotional authority, that's not the case. And it's so, so important and vital even for an emotional authority to understand that and to give ourselves the time to move through the wave and gain that clarity and not feel bad about it and not shame or judge ourselves and say that we're just procrastinating. No, we're just still waiting for that clarity to emerge. So visibility is an actual destination. That's what I'm helping my clients, my members, my community, you do to unlock what your right visibility is. It's about helping you create more visibility from the inside out. And every episode, every piece of content, whether it's through this podcast, it's through my newsletter, which really is my favorite place to create content and where it all starts. And every piece builds on the last. Nothing is standalone anymore. So I want to leave you with this, with the visibility problem that nobody is talking about, because this is what we're going to be diving into in season 3. You know, most visibility conversations are about marketing. It's about your presence. It's about being seen by an audience, whether that's online or in real life. But there's a layer underneath that nobody really wants to sit with. And that is, how do you see yourself? You know, we get so caught up in how others perceive us that we completely bypass our own inner perception. The uncomfortable truth is, until that you see yourself the way that you want others to see you, they won't. So this isn't about faking confidence or like fake it till you make it or wearing a mask like you're performing. It's about feeling. It's about alignment. It's about what is right for you. And this is the problem that Visibility Unlocked exists to solve. And this is exactly where season 3 is going to begin. What would change if the way that you saw yourself matched the way that you want the world to see you? So think about that. How do you want the world to see you? Do you see yourself as confident? Do you see yourself as smart, intelligent, and experienced? Do you see yourself as beautiful? Because if you don't, then the whole world is going to miss out on that too. They're not going to see you that way because they're going to be able to see right through the fake it until you're making it. They're going to see right through your content because it's a feeling that you're emitting. You can literally sit here and say all of the things, but the energy behind it begins with what you really truly believe and how you actually see yourself. What is that underlying belief? So I want to pause here for a moment and just say a huge thank you to all of you that have been here, especially if you've been here from the beginning. You have been on this podcast journey with me of me uncovering my own visibility, me literally doing the work myself. This evolution didn't happen in spite of the work. It literally happened because of it. I have lived it, and I am here to help you move through it too, so that you can understand what your right visibility is. I'm not here to be seen as a brand photographer or a human design reader or a numerologist. I am here to be seen as somebody who helps you uncover your visibility. And the photography, the human design, the numerology, these are all just tools that I use, modalities to help you uncover what your right visibility is. It's not just what I think it should be for you. It's literally an energetic blueprint that we uncover and embody and embrace and step into. So season 3 is coming. It has a direction, it has a destination, and it is going to take you somewhere. If you ever felt invisible and couldn't explain why, season 3 is for you. If you've ever done all of the things and still feel like something's missing, season 3 is for you. We're going somewhere, and I cannot wait to take you there. If you're not subscribed, subscribe right now so that you don't miss season 3, episode 1. And if you're someone in the world if there's someone in your world who needs this, then share this episode with her so that they can subscribe and find their visibility too. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next episode. Hi, I'm Kimberly Romano, Indian wedding photographer turned brand photographer and human design reader. Thank you for tuning into Shifted, the podcast that is here to spark a shift in you that creates big change in your energy, perspective, and direction. And if this episode sparked a shift in you, then subscribe and leave a review sharing what your shift was. Not only will this help others discover this podcast, but your shift can inspire them to have a shift of their own. Please remember, the content you hear in this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as legal, health, or financial advice. For professional guidance, I encourage you to seek out a trusted expert near you. Thank you again for tuning into Shifted. Until next time, keep leaning into the shift.